Hi everyone and welcome to Calypso, and today we're going to be talking about the new releases from Maurice Lacroix. Now Maurice Lacroix is a brand that's been around for about 30 odd years, and they've really made a name for themselves in terms of entry level and value-based luxury, dominating that sort of $1,000 to about $3,000 mark, plus or minus in certain cases. For some models a bit higher, some models a bit lower. And last week they released two extensions to their Aikon Venturer line. Now, a bit of background, the Aikon was released originally in 2016 as a sort of revival for their original 90s model called the Calypso. Then in 2018, they released the Aikon Automatic, which many people saw a lot of parallels with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak in terms of its design, but it was still just an evolution and modernization of that original Calypso design. And then in 2019, they released the Aikon Venturer, which is essentially a dive model or dive style model of the Aikon. So it has 300 meter water resistance, unidirectional ceramic bezel, solid case back, and a size increase from 42 millimeters to 43, and a thickness increase due to that increased water resistance up to 11.6 millimeters. So overall an evolution, and in my view, this was actually a really good move because instead of it seeming like a sort of move of going from, Royal Oak inspired to Royal Oak offshore inspired, this actually stands a lot better on its own 2 feet, in my opinion. I don't think you could look at this and compare it to a standard Royal Oak or an offshore and say that they look the same or even that similar. And what they've done this year is they've released 2 new variants that I think push it even further into a more individual territory, into a more unique territory, where it's not so much about comparisons, it's more about this is just a good looking watch that you can get at a relatively accessible price. So the first variant I want to talk about is bronze. Now, I'll be honest, bronze in general is not particularly my preference, and neither is green. But just because I don't like those for me personally doesn't mean I can't recognize a good execution when I see one. And what they've done with this new bronze model is exactly that. They've given it a nice green dial and a bronze case on either a green rubber strap that matches the dial, or if not, a nice brown leather strap that matches the bezel. And I think this is a great addition to the line. We need to remember this is the diving Aikon. It's got 300 meter water resistance. And that whole theme of diving, being underwater, is really emphasized by bronze as a material because it makes you think of, the old diving helmets, makes you think of ships that have been submerged and start to develop their patina in the same way that bronze tends to develop its own patina as well. So that means every piece will end up being unique in the way that it patinas. And I think that's an interesting concept for some people, and it matches what a lot of people within the dive space are doing because it's such a natural progression. Mechanically, however, it remains the same as the standard Venturer Aikon. So that's a Sellita SW200, essentially the same thing as an ETA 2824. Automatic winding round, 40-hour power reserve, and a date. Very reliable, very robust, and easy for any watchmaker to fix. And that bronze model will set you back $2,490 at retail. The other variant they released is the two-tone with a blue dial. Now we know from the example of the Rolex Bluesy that two-tone and blue dial looks good regardless. However, you couldn't look at the two and pretend that they look the same. It's the same colors, but that's about it. And moreover, this is something that Audemars Piguet doesn't have. They don't have an offshore or a standard Royal Oak in current production that will offer you a blue dial with yellow gold and steel. So again, more points to them for pushing into more original territory. But beyond that, what I love about this is that it really harks back to that 90s Calypso. The 90s were still very much all about two-tone with yellow, gold, and steel. It's a carryover from the 80s. And this really leans into that. So not only is it more individual, more unique, but it also leans heavily into its own nostalgia, which again really helps the Aikon stand on its own 2 feet by offering something that you don't get from other manufacturers that make similar looking watches. Mechanically still the same, still very reliable, still 300 meters water resistant. And the good thing is that Maurice Lacroix doesn't go around pretending that this is solid gold either. In their press release, they make it very clear that this is gold plated, and you can tell that by the price. It costs $2,690 US, so about $600 or $700 more than the standard full steel version. But you still get their interchangeable strap system, which is great. You can put it on a rubber strap, put it on a leather strap while easily changing it. It's still got the ceramic bezel, still the 300 meter water resistance. It's still very much the Aikon Venturer, just with a little bit more 90s flair to it. And I think that really represents what Maurice Lacroix has been doing with this Aikon collection since it was released. They've been releasing variants that mirror what they did with the Calypso, which was a very successful model for them. And they've been really leaning into its identity, whether that be its identity as a dive watch with the bronze version or its identity as a 90s watch with the two-tone version. So I think it's a great evolution and definitely shows good things to come from Maurice Lacroix. I think they're on the right path and they're definitely pushing to make sure this is an icon in itself for their brand. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these two new Aikon Venturer variants? Which one is your favorite? Do you like what they've done? Do you like where they're going? What do you think of Maurice Lacroix in general as a brand? If you've had any experience with them, I'd love to know in the comments below. I've tried on a few of their watches in stores, but I'd really like to get my hands on one to review so I can get a more detailed impression of what they're like. But my first impressions are that they're very well built and at a very good price point as well, and with a decent amount of history behind them. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you like this video, please do like it and share it. And of course, if you want to see more pictures of these watches and infographics, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Calypso. And if you want to keep seeing new videos about watches, watch reviews, and watch releases, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can know when I put out my next video. And of course, thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.